I promise you, I tried to wait to make this beat, but I couldn't. You remember this part from the last video? But you could probably create a beat just out of these. Oh, yeah, I should have started with that. That sounds crazy. And I told myself to wait until I made another video to use like those strings, but I'm not gonna lie, I was just kind of going through them like I think like 2 days ago. If you follow me on IG, you've seen it. And I came across those strings, man, and I hit a few notes and I was like, I have to make a beat right now. So that's why we're going to be breaking this one down in today's video. I am going to make another one where I do a beat like this from scratch, but let's go ahead and hear what the melody sounds like. I'm going to break down every single part of this step by step, and then I will show you the actual full beat. So let's hear the melody first. Sounds crazy, right? And then the finished product of that, let me go over here and just show you the beat, because I'm going to show you how I made all of this. This beat came out crazy. This is definitely something that would be like a heavier beat, like a harder beat on a future project. I feel like it would be fire. Something that's kind of just more on that aggressive side. Let's hear this. This beat came out so crazy. So, and then we have a little part where it breaks down over here into a sine bass, but let's jump straight into the melody, because you'll see I did export it, and then I had different effects processing because those strings kind of cut out. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So like I said in that last video, I showed you that sometimes in something like Arcade, you could just find some strings, especially in here, that when you play a bunch of notes together, it already just gives you a phrasing. It's kind of like the whole sample's right there sometimes. And this is the one we use. So you go into here. This is going to be one of my favorite banks for this. It actually should have, hold up. Let me go to line right here. And it's all of these. So the one I used is a heavy heart, right? And all I do is sit here and I'll cycle through them, usually in like a minor key. And either on my MIDI keyboard or my actual keyboard, I'll just play random notes together. So I'll just hold 3. So right now I'm gonna hold, I don't know, these 3. And then I'll go here. There's already another one. You can go inside of here and mess with each phrasing if you want. Right, so this is the note right here. We can go in here, edit, and we can reverse it. Play them together after that, loop it. You could change the pitch of one of them, the speed. We can also go right here and just change the speed of this to halftime, and then play them all 3 together. You can create some really cool like starters in here. So what I did was chose these 3 right here, and then I just let them all play out, and they sounded really good together. So let's go ahead and play this by itself. And I did like how it kind of stops right there, but I can see how that can kind of sound like the sample or the melody, whatever's cutting out. So what I did after that was layer in a piano to kind of fix that. And the only reason that there's 2 of these that I have going is because on the verses, you'll see there's a string verse. I cut out that little plucked one. So it just depends how you want to do it. Anyways, let's go ahead and go into the piano. So then the piano, it's just keyscape. And it's cinematic. I don't think I adjusted anything in here, just normal. And then on the piano, I went ahead and followed like root notes in the scale. So you'll see we start on D sharp. And then remember I told you how the sample kind of cut out at the end? I put another D sharp here just to kind of keep it flowing and give it like that illusion that it didn't do what it did in the sample. Pay attention right here and right here, and you'll see how it fills it out nicely. transition's a lot better. There was some RC20 on it, so it's a little bit of vinyl too. You can copy this if you want. And then I went a little bit harder on the distortion, and then we have a little bit digital, some reverb, some space, a little bit of magnetic going on, and then the width over to about 125, I think it was. So before and after. It did get darker. It did get a little bit of that lower mid-range kind of boosted up, and then it spread out a lot. And from here, we can get into the drums. So this 808 is in the resupply update that just came out, brand new 808 that's added. Then we get the snare 23. As you can see, I just named them after to keep it simple, but that's snare 23 from resupply, clap 15. Hi-hat's not part of the kit, it's just the hit one hi-hat. And then the open hi-hat is open hi-hat 9 from resupply, open hi-hat 8 from resupply. So the snare is going to hit on the 3, except when you see a few that hit in between here, 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 and here. And then at the end, we have a little fill, which I'll show you. So let's play that out real quick. Claps layered with it too. So instead of just having one snare like this, I kept that one there, and then let me go ahead and do it again. Added 1, 2, and then over here another one. That was pretty much it. And then on the hi-hat, started off with a nice 2-step hi-hat, and what I did was just add in a few fills. So let's go ahead and break it down by section. So the first bar of the beat, it's going to be a 2-step, and then I went into 3rd step and did a little fill, a little roll, whatever right here. I always say fill, it's not like a drum fill, it's a little roll on the hi-hat. And then I did another one where it's more spaced out. So I'm skipping, you know, it's like a normal triplet if you do it like this every 4 steps, which I always show. And then we get into the second one. As you can see, it's still that 2-step. And then where I did a fill right here, I did another one, but I merged them closer together. So instead of it being spaced out, they all 4 hit like that. And then we get the same placement that I have this one right over here, but I did another fill, which is, how many is that? 5. And they're closer together too. And then I just drop it down a few notes. So as far as placement goes on where these little rolls are at, it's the same, but they're just different. As right here, you can see these two are the same. This one just has a few extra notes. So let's go ahead and play that now. And for that, it's really just placement on where you hear it. You got to pay attention to where you're placing your drums, and then relative to where you're thinking you might place the 808. And that's kind of where you place your hi-hat rolls. And then after that, you see it goes back to a simple 2-step. On these first 2 bars, there's something going on, and then it goes back to a 2-step. And then on the 5th and 6th bar, there's something going on, and the 7th up to the 8th, before it loops back, it goes back to a 2-step. Then we go into the open hi-hats, which I like a lot. So on the open hi-hat, I layered one on each downbeat pretty much, and then I added in a few extras. And for this, I really just go over to my MIDI keyboard and kind of just hit record and press play and see what sounds good. So let's go ahead and hear this. And we get 2 right here. And then again, to kind of hide those strings fading out, what I did was add in 2 notes right here. Kind of like what I did on the piano, where I had that last note kind of hitting like right here and it was dragged out. And then I had the open hi-hats. So you can't really hear it anymore. You can't really hear that like synth or those strings, my bad, cut out. It just matches better. And then I add in another open hi-hat, which is going to focus on, I think, right after the downbeat. Yep, so move it over 1 spot. You'll see a lot of this beat is kind of like push-pull. When you're making your beats, you'll remember where like, okay, I probably have some room right here to kind of mess around. And it kind of happens like without thinking about it, and just leaving room, making room, thinking about everything in the beat, and more time of making beats, the longer you make beats, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It kind of just naturally happens. So let's go ahead and hear this. We have a pattern that repeats. It starts off, and then we get a little bit of ear candy going on towards the end. And then after we had that, we pretty much got the full beat. So then the next thing I do is go into the verse. And that is, like I told you, it drops into the part without the little pluck string. And nothing really changes here except there's a sine bass that gets layered in. And that's just following what the root notes of that piano are doing. And then I had one 808 to just kind of, I don't know, usually I don't do that. I don't really layer them, but the transition sounded kind of cool. So I just had it hit once. So let's go ahead and hear that. And watch without the 808. And with it, it just works. Like, I don't do that a lot, but it works, so I left it. I thought it sounded really good, and without it, it doesn't sound good. So it's like small things like that that really help out. And then yeah, it drops into that verse, and then it goes back into the melody. This one I was just kind of having fun with. I arranged it, had a nice little transition, and especially this part just sounds crazy. Open, it's real smooth. Then we're gonna drop back in over here, have everything cut out.